Umbrella is flying this airplane. He's a Sunny pilot from Scarsdale, New York. He's a landscaping contractor and owner of the pilot of Green Camo L39 race number 7. Cutting your ass at home so the bigger bitch folks up there as a famous corporate spark sponsored featured many aerobatic training flights. Flying high as a confirmed bachelor without normal household expenses of a wife and kids has also helped to pay for the fuel burnt by this L39, which is about 200 gallons per hour. That's $4 a gallon jet fuel, by the way. Larry started flying his last year at high school in 1969 and is now with over 6,500 hours of total flight time. He holds an airline transport license for airplane, single, and multi-engine land, type rating to the L39, the Grumman Albatross, G111, the DC-3, the Cessna Citation 500, and private pilot privileges in gliders, helicopters, and hot air balloons. Larry has raced at the Reno Air Forces for the last 2 years and has not seen any records, but he has finished each time. He's a rookie on the air show performance circuit at only 63 years old. He's going to come back around in this next series of maneuvers. Now this airplane goes fast. It takes a while to turn it around because of the radius of the turn. Our physics teacher out there will teach you about that as Larry's going to be headed back into air show here in just a moment. The aircraft has a number to exceed airspeed, that's his red line, of 475 knots. You can have 15 set to that to come up with 80 miles per hour, or Mach 0.8. That's 80% of the speed of sound. It will routinely cruise at 320 knots, and it has a range of 540 nautical miles. That's a little bit over 600 miles. The L39 not designed to have long legs because the Soviet block instructors were afraid the pilot would take off solo and go to West Berlin. We'll be bringing the airplane back around for his next run here in just a minute as Neil Darnell takes his truck back up to the other end of that and preparing for their additional runs here this afternoon. The aircraft has a service ceiling that's its maximum altitude of 37,730 feet and has a thrust to rate ratio of 0.37, quite a bit different from Neil Darnell's flash dryer truck. He can take off at about 1,700 feet and landing in less than 2,000. It's a safe, comfortable airplane to take off and land for 4,000 feet, and that saves the brakes and makes the airplane a little bit easier to maintain. You know, you can't go to your local auto parts store to find parts for a communist-built jet aircraft. The L-39 has served the Soviet bloc very, very well as a very effective training aircraft. It was designed to be operated from unimproved airports, that is, grass strips. The wings inlets for the jet engine are above the wings. This helps to keep it from sucking up debris, which we would call FOD, or would cause foreign object damage to the aircraft. Larry's taking it up right now in a great big round loop. Now once again, he's working with airspace, so he's working hard to keep the airplane right over the airport. We're giving him a half-minute turnaround. He's going to be exiting out to the left. The aircraft was specifically designed by the Czechoslovakians, where it was built for the Soviet bloc. It's designed to be maintained by, well, quite frankly, not the high-tech soldiers that we graduated from Fort Benning, Georgia, but by farmers using a hammer and a pair of pressure wrenches to keep the aircraft flying. Normally it would be returned to depot maintenance for extensive overhaul. And we're fortunate here in the South to have Larry King up in Atlanta, Georgia, who has one of the most experience on Soviet-built aircraft and those jet engines. Unusual feature of the airplane is it has an intake screen over the intakes to keep from ingesting large objects, because the Soviets kept their grass strips clipped by sheep. And if the sheep didn't get out of the way, well, guess what? Everybody had mutton for dinner after it was ingested into the aircraft. There goes Larry, this time giving us a nice big round barrel roll. That maneuver is a 1G maneuver. In other words, you press down to the seat just like you are when you're flying level. You can actually set a drop or a glass of water over a glare screen and never spill a drop when performing the barrel roll. Larry's going to swing back around one more time, and you can see how fast the airplane is, and that does create a long radius turn. Larry pulled the nose up to do what would be called a high yo-yo, that is pulling the nose up above the horizon, slowing the airplane right down. That shortens his turn radius. Then as he comes back around at about the 180-degree point, he releases the back pressure, and the aircraft starts to accelerate. He'll be coming back for his next pass here in just a couple of minutes. Larry once again going to give us a dog bone turnaround over here on the left-hand side. They come out down to about a 45-degree right-hand turn. Pull the nose up. The airplane starts to decelerate. And it gives us a 270-degree roll. Rolls to the right so he can end up turning to the left. And coming back up. Coming back around here in just a couple of moments. Once again, the nose is below the horizon. Larry's allowing the jet to accelerate to over 350 miles an hour. He's working on the 1,000-foot show line, as prescribed by our FAA waiver. And comes in this time with a 4-point roll, stopping the wings every 90 degrees of rotation. Microsoft Flight Simulator as the aircraft has a lot of inertia as it rolls over. All right, once again, a 270-degree roll that pulls this time into a right-hand turn. Flashfire is going over to the Kia booth. And Larry will be going to the Wells Fargo booth after his flight. We'll probably have to borrow some money from Wells Fargo so he can afford to put the fuel back in his jet to get back home. Here he comes right now, coming back across on a high-speed pass. Larry's going back to land. He'll be landing on a long runway here at Columbus Metropolitan. We've got one of our commuter flights to come in. We'll be touching down, and then we'll be proceeding on with our air show. As we mentioned earlier, the Columbus Metropolitan Airport is the Columbus and the Mid-Chattahoochee Valley's access to the national and international air transportation system. Additionally, this air base serves as a base for many different corporate operations. Those hangars that you see across the way, where corporate aircraft are used to dispatch not only key executives, but key parts and personnel into locations nationwide.